Hello from Cookbook Divas. My name is Carrie, and I'm here with Katie. It's February 5, 2021, and we are excited to tell you and chit-chat about all of the new cookbooks that we find interesting that are coming out in February 2021. We have a huge list, and I'm going to go over some of the cocktail books, even though they're not necessarily cookbooks. I just love drinking cocktails and looking at pictures of them in cookbooks and dreaming about if it's 5 o'clock yet and I can have one.
So close.
Oh, man. What is going on, although it's probably too late to order them for Valentine's Day? Did anybody come out with some perfect Valentine's Day, like gift cookbooks that you could send to your friends? Or
Yeah. So we do have actual Valentine's Day cookbooks. So Taste of Home did a Valentine's Day mini binder, and they have a lot of stuff, not just desserts, which I really appreciate. It's like a whole day of Valentine's Day, which is pretty awesome. Yeah, breakfast, lunch, dinner, dessert, snacks. It's a whole thing. We do have the cookie jar, which has a bunch of awesome cookie recipes in there that they have 90 recipes in this cookie jar book. So that's amazing to me. I didn't even know there was more than 20 cookie recipes.
What's your go-to? Like, mine is so boring. Like, I want to make cookies, and so I make chocolate chip or peanut butter. Delicious,
I'm like
but
that too. I know. I'm like that too. I don't know. I'm sure you could put different kinds of chips in there. Like the macadamia nut and white chocolate chip is good, but I can't have a whole bunch of those. That's too sweet for me.
And I don't make oatmeal cookies. That's too healthy. No.
My mom loves oatmeal cookies, and I've never heard of anybody else but her who are like, I love oatmeal cookies. It's weird. So I'm with you on that. So speaking of cocktail books, because I personally like drinking cocktails during Valentine's Day, obviously. There was a cocktail book that I thought was really fun. That's also great as a gift. It's Cocktails of the Movies, which comes out on the 23rd of February. Yeah.
Whoa, I haven't heard of that. Whoa.
Yeah.
Good thing there's two of us with our brains.
I know. Yeah. So I love the design of the book itself. It's really funky. It's fun. There's bright colors. There's pictures of the characters who might be drinking the cocktail from a movie, or just, obviously James Bond comes to mind for cocktails. So he's clearly in there, but there's also just actors in there with their atypical, cocktails. So that's a cool gift. And they have a lot of cool cocktails in there. It's technically an expanded edition, so they've had previous cookbooks, but yeah.
Well, that's nice that they update it when some new cool movies come out that are cocktail worthy.
Yeah. So what have you found for cocktail books?
I was looking at Small Bites, Mimosas, and More. I was thinking I should drink mimosas more often, because that way you're basically drinking fruit juice with a little splash of something, and you can pretend it's healthy. I mean, claim that it's healthy.
Yeah, no, mimosas are great. And you can do a lot with mimosas.
So I'm going to run down the list of our notes that we took and cookbooks that we want to share with you guys. And towards the end of the episode, we'll do our little spiel about our cooking clubs that we're doing right now and our free online cooking classes and our communities. But right now, let's jump into the list. Katie found a cookbook called Modern Cajun Cooking, 85 Farm Fresh Recipes with Classic Flavors. It came out a couple days ago on February 2. I'm probably not going to pick one up because as a vegetarian, Cajun cooking is pretty much a little fish-centric and meat-centric.
Yep, it is. I really love this cookbook because I've been kind of dabbling in Cajun cooking, but all the traditional flavors and stuff, I feel like I'm not getting it quite there. So the modern version is a little less intensive on the Cajun bit, in my opinion, but it's great.
And you wanted to talk about a low sodium cookbook, which I find boring because I want to add salt to everything I eat, but I can't because Bob needs to watch his sodium. And my boyfriend's older than me. We won't say how much older.
The reason why I decided to try to go vegan actually was because I wanted to reduce my sugar and salt intake. And it hasn't, like the low sodium actually hasn't really done anything with the vegan thing. But that aside, there's actually cookbooks for low sodium. I had no idea. So this cookbook is called Low Sodium, Big Flavor. It has 115 recipes, which I'm really surprised about. I'm really curious to see like how it actually tastes, like if it's actually, do I actually need more salt or not?
It's hard to be a low sodium vegan or vegetarian because I eat fake meat replacement, which I think is delicious and most people would think is rubbery and weird. But the way they substitute the fact that you're not actually eating meat is they add a bunch of salt.
Yeah. Oh, no, that makes sense. Totally. And the cool thing with this cookbook, I mean, I guess it's not technically cool since Americans need, a lot of Americans kind of need to be on a low sodium diet.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the good thing, but it's good that this cookbook is out so that, there's opportunities and you're not, hating dinner or breakfast
or dreading
yourself or whatever. So yeah, so you can learn how to be healthy without eliminating all the taste. So I really like that. I'm looking forward to digging into that for sure.
And since we're on the topic of vegan and vegetarian, and don't worry, this entire podcast is not going to be about our vegan and vegetarian lives. Don't worry.
Yeah. Oh, right.
I'm looking at the Mighty Bean because I'm a vegetarian and I do have to eat beans every single day. So you can feel bad for my boyfriend right now. Anyway, still live with me. I grabbed a whole bunch of cans of chickpeas and I grabbed dried beans, back in March when we weren't sure. I didn't even own a mask. So I'm like, crap, I can't go to the store. So I was ordering whatever Amazon could give me. And I wasn't hoarding like other people still had beans in the Seattle area, but I bought way too many beans. So I'm, of course, eating them up now. Because if you're a prepper or you're slightly prepared in your pantry, you eat the oldest can of chili in the house and then put the brand new, can in the back. Anyway, the Mighty Bean came out February 2, and it's 100 easy recipes that are good for your health, the world, and your budget. And it teaches you how to use the beans in your crock pots, your pressure cookers, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And given the preference, I would definitely rather cook dried beans from scratch than open up a nasty old can of something that who knows how long it's been in there. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, definitely. And, go ahead.
I'd like you to talk about our next cookbook because I've never eaten this thing that this cookbook is about.
It's called the Chicken Bible. And it actually is like a Bible for chicken. It's 500 recipes of chicken. I know. I can't even imagine how big and heavy this book is.
I don't have a copy of it in front of me or even a picture. Is it like just massive, like weighs 25 pounds? Or
yeah,
that would be a good time to use Kindle.
Right. No, exactly. So it's cool because it focuses on not just the chicken, but kind of like the different appliances that can be used rather than just using your oven to bake chicken. We can fry chicken, we can pressure cook chicken. There's all kinds of ways of preparing chicken. So that's the cool part about that particular cookbook. And yeah, if you love chicken, obviously this is the cookbook for you.
Well, and I do cook chicken for my boyfriend once in a while. Like I feel bad, like just because I'm vegetarian, he doesn't need to be too. And he's happy eating. Like last night we had fake tacos with fake meat and he thought it was delicious with our fake crumbles. But he should get real meat once in a while. But the only way I'm confident to do it is in the Instant Pot because then I know it's cooked through and I don't have to worry about the temperature and just let it do its thing.
Yeah, I actually got salmonella like 6 years ago. Yeah, it was a chicken. It wasn't like the cooking chicken. It was actual chickens. That was a problem. But yeah, it's a serious thing. Obviously, you don't want to get that. It sucks.
The next book that I want to talk about is yet another bread baking book, but I'm laughing because I'm imagining, and I haven't looked how many bread books are going to come out in March, April, and May, because we didn't know, people that are writing cookbooks last year in March, April, and May didn't know that this bread baking was going to be a thing, and we were all out of flour. It was impossible to order any. So now we've had months and months and months for cookbook authors to go, wow, everyone's baking bread. I should make a cookbook. And this one that came out this week is Life Lessons from a Homemade Sourdough Starter. Teachings in Happiness with the one and only sourdough recipe. I like that they're trying to find their own niche because let's face it, not to be rude, I love cookbooks. I'm a cookbook blogger and now podcaster, but we have enough bread books in the world. But this one found this extra little niche about happiness and baking. Yay!
Oh yeah, it's fun. It actually talks about a geoscientist, which so he like gave up his whole career just to start baking bread, and it became this whole like journey of happiness. So it's actually kind of a sweet cookbook. It's kind of touching.
Oh,
yeah.
What's next on your list?
The next one is called the Shortcut Cook. Yes,
which you had me at shortcut.
Right, everybody's like, yeah, shortcuts. So this is a cool cookbook because I think we end up really I guess glorifying chefs, and we think, oh, they all make their homemade pasta, or they all, home make their stocks. I'm sure a lot of them do, but they do take shortcuts. So this cookbook really emphasizes that you don't need to cook like a professional chef, by making everything from scratch. They utilize shortcuts just as much as we do. And, this is how you can do it. And they even list it's like a shortcut in their actual recipes. So they try to simplify all the recipes, but then they have like, here's an additional way to cut time on all of these things, which I really appreciate. Yeah, it's really cool.
Is there a postscript with a picture of my face, like, and for extra lazy cooks like Carrie Campbell?
Man, you should sell that. That would be fun. Oh my God.
That makes sense because our cousin Amy's boyfriend is a chef, and she says when he gets home from cooking basically all night long, he just wants a bowl of cereal, or he's he's making mac and cheese from a box. Like, this is great.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't have to be this like elaborate, thing. I don't blame them. I don't. But there's more cocktail books, right? That's coming up.
Well, you already talked about cocktails in the movies, but let me find my tab that I have open, and I have like 5,000 tabs open.
Yeah.
I got excited because I thought that Apotheke Modern Medicinal Cocktails was a brand new edition, but it came out back in October, and now it's just out in Kindle. So forget that one. Excuse me. There is a book coming out February 9 called Infused, 70 Thirst-Quenching Healthy Drinks. And I'm thinking maybe I should mix it up a little and not start drinking my cocktails in the afternoon till maybe 6 p.m. if I can control myself. And instead, I could use this book to learn about the power of infused waters, teas, and tonics, and healthy drinks. And it has hot ones, not just cold ones.
Whoa.
Which is nice because I like cold drinks, but last night I was crunching too much ice in my decaf iced tea and I started shivering. I'm like, this is dumb. I should be having hot decaf tea.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
What's next on your list of things you want to share with our listeners?
So we also have the Wild Crafted Cocktail Cookbook.
Ooh.
Yes. And this one's really cool.
It's a beautiful cover. It has just a purple cocktail that makes me thirsty, and it's got a sugared blueberry sticking in it.
Oh yeah, it's a beautiful cookbook. The only probably complaint I have is that it does there's a lot of ingredients in there that are not necessarily like commonplace, like nettle leaves, for instance. I don't have those on hand.
Yeah, because the subtitle is Make Your Own Foraged Syrups, Bitters, Infusions, and Garnishes.
Yep.
And I like the titles of the drinks. It says From the Merry Woodsman to the Silverberry Sour.
It is very fantasy-esque. It is really cute. It's a beautiful cookbook. And if you're daring enough and want to learn how to, forage and make all of these awesome things, I definitely recommend it.
I'm probably not going to forage for nettles and make a drink called the Stinger in the Rye, but I would try pickled fiddlehead ferns, and I would put those in my Bloody Mary like right now.
Oh man, yeah, I would try it. I don't think I could do it. I would be way too lazy for that. I honestly would be. I love the outdoors, but I can't. It's too many things.
So I wanted to mention interesting for those of you that are hardcore cookbook food history people. There's a book coming out in paperback on February 16 called The Sultan's Feast, a 15th century Egyptian cookbook. And they
Ooh.
are talking about the Arabic culinary tradition, and it doesn't have a fabulous photos or anything like that. It's really for hardcore nerds. But they call it The Book of Flowers in the Garden of Elegant Foods. And they write about bread making, on drinking water, on dishes, on making murree, on making omelets, on counterfeit dishes, making your own mustard, dairy, pickles, storing fruits, and keeping them when they're out of season. Love it. I don't think I
Wow.
would sit down and read it cover to cover, but I would definitely want to get it from the library and just check it out for like an hour.
Yeah. Oh, that's really cool. I've not actually tried like Egyptian cooking really, or I mean Middle Eastern cooking in general. I would love to get into that more for sure.
You're up next. What
Oh.
else have you been looking at?
So one cookbook that is really interesting, and I'm a millennial, as you know, it's called Road Trip Cooking, the best recipes for your campfire, stove, or barbecue. So this cookbook is kind of focused on people who do van living or road tripping or camping. I actually have a friend who has decided not to live in an apartment anymore and to go back to van living. And it's not for me, but like a lot of people my age and younger are definitely more eager to go explore the world. And this is a good cookbook to have with you because it kind of teaches you how to just reduce on how much actual stuff we have and what we need to cook food and to, utilize the space we have. And
that's brilliant because you can't just shop at gas stations for your food and stay healthy and not get obese and have a heart attack from the salt.
Oh, yeah. I would be going out to eat every day. Even on your wallet, it would be better for, money's sake too. So yeah, it's a cool cookbook. Isn't there another cookbook that you wanted to check out? The Florentine cookbook?
That's down here. Yes, The True Cuisine of Florence. I actually have seen the cover of this on all the new, all these new exciting cookbook look-throughs that the big food magazines do. And I'm so excited to see it just because the cover is beautiful, but I don't know anything about the history of Florence. And our relatives have gone there on trips and come back talking about the art, but they didn't talk so much about the food because people like my dad are like, where's McDonald's when they're in a foreign country? I'm
oh
like,
my
no!
God. Yeah. Oh no. I would love to try food from Florence. That would be amazing.
So Florentine, The True Cuisine of Florence comes out February 9, and I already have it on my library holds list, and there's only 45 people ahead of me.
Oh, man.
So when I get it, I will for sure do a cookbook look through for those of you that don't yet have it or haven't seen it yet in like about 5 months when I finally get a copy.
Yay. It'll be like touring Italy just for a little bit while we're at home. There's speaking of touring, Clauda's Weeknight Kitchen, easy and exciting dishes to liven up your recipe repertoire, is she's from Ireland. She's an Irish chef, and she's coming out with she's already actually come out with a cookbook on the 2nd. And it's all these easy weeknight foods, which is amazing, but they're very unique recipes. So there's not, it's not like for me, a weeknight easy recipe is macaroni and cheese. Hers is like lamb cutlets with a campanata. That sounds extra fancy for 30 minutes of cooking.
That sounds Italian, but I might not know what I'm talking about.
Her cookbook looks really, really interesting and really cool. And if you want to liven up your, as she says it, if you want to liven up your weeknight dishes, this is definitely a really great cookbook for that.
I have been intimidated by Irish cookbooks in the past because I'm a vegetarian and I'm not going to ever make black pudding.
Oh,
things like that, and all the sausage, this and that. And I don't personally care for cabbage. So okay, soda bread, and I get this like St. Patrick's Day feeling to it. I'm like, I'm not trying to celebrate St. Patrick's Day. I just want to look at an Irish cookbook.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, definitely.
Speaking of ethnic cookbooks, I love the way that we're not supposed to say ethnic cookbooks anymore. We're supposed to say international. Excuse me, I'm
International.
old. Speaking of international cookbooks, I love the way we segue back and forth. They are coming out with the paperback version of the French Brasserie Cookbook, which came out back in 2011, which is the dawn of time in the cookbook industry years ago.
Oh, wow.
They've updated the cover to make it prettier. It's by Daniel Gelmish, and it's the French Brasserie Cookbook. And since I can't go to any French brasseries right now because they're closed and the coronavirus, I do have trouble eating at French restaurants because there's a lot of meat. But this cookbook has an entire 30-page chapter on vegetarian dishes. Yay!
Ooh, that's exciting.
So it comes out February 23.
That's awesome.
By Nourish Publisher, whoever that is.
Yeah, cool.
What's next on your list?
Well, it's a pancake book.
Ooh!
I love
breakfast
pancakes.
for dinner?
Yes. There are 75 recipes in this cookbook. It is called Pancakes Make People Happy. It's so true. Pancakes do make people happy.
So you mean I can't just pop open a box of Bisquick, or my people always this winter sent me gourmet like Williams Sonoma and Stonewall Kitchen gourmet pancake mixes.
Oh,
so
man.
I'm like, well, it's a gift. I have to open this and use it.
Right.
But I'm not being very adventurous with my pancake making.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I always think about this elaborate pancake I'm going to make, and then I just end up, going really easy and simple. But I think if I had more inspiration on what to do, then I might, do something different. They have savory and sweet pancake recipes.
Savory?
Yeah. And different kinds of syrups, different, just all kinds of different things and ideas. So I think it's a cute cookbook, honestly.
So here's a cookbook that's coming out that a lot of people are going to be very excited about, but we're not. It's the unofficial Aldi cookbook. Delicious recipes made with fan favorites from the award-winning grocery store. We don't have an Aldi here in Seattle, but we have wonderful Trader Joe's. But I hear people raving about Aldi, and I'm like, do I have to wait till the pandemic is solved and fly to California to shop at one? What do I have to do?
Oh, that's where it is. I was like, I don't even know.
On the East Coast too, and
yeah.
And there's a cookbook I wanted to ask you about because you are our token gluten-free person.
Yep.
There's a book with a beautiful cover with a weird mashup of pizza, donuts, cookies, and ramen and French fries, and it says how to make anything gluten-free.
Oh my goodness.
Over 100 recipes for everything from home comforts to fakeaways, cakes to dessert, brunch to bread by Becky Excel, and it comes out February 23 and in hardcover.
What? Oh, man.
And I keep forgetting that French fries are not necessarily gluten-free because I try to order them for you at restaurants, and then it's like, oh, what if they dipped it in a batter?
Yeah, it's that beer batter or even the oil. So I won't go on a whole rant about celiac, but there's some people that if it touches any kind of gluten, anything, it'll cause flammation.
I know what you mean.
But yeah, it's a whole, yeah. That's exciting though. I would love to learn how to cook everything gluten-free. Obviously, I've had to make quite a few sacrifices.
Now next on my list is Beyond Chopped Liver. 59 Jewish recipes get a vegan health makeover. I really like Jewish cookbooks, and I've had Jewish friends that come over to my house for Thanksgiving because they know I'm vegetarian, and I've told people I'm going to be serving tofurkey. So if you want turkey, bring your own, and they will bring their turkey and put it in my oven. But my Jewish friends like that. They know I can't say my kitchen is kosher because a rabbi has not come and blessed it, but they know there's no meat touching anything.
Oh,
so
wow.
I actually own a lot of Jewish cookbooks, so I can just be careful and cook stuff that we're both going to like. So I'm excited for Beyond Chopped Liver by Kendon Alfond.
That sounds pretty tasty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I have one more cookbook on my list. It is called The New Classics by Donna Hay.
I love her.
Yeah. So I guess I'm going to I confess the thing that actually drew me to this cookbook was her it was a photo of her baked brulee rice custard. I love custard.
Ooh.
And it looks so good. The photos are beautiful in here. So this is definitely worth a look through. It's got 300 recipes in this cookbook. So
you like the ones with lots of quantity. You don't want to be like cheated out of your money when you buy a cookbook. Give me lots of recipes.
Yeah. Well, it can be really hit or miss sometimes with your cookbooks, like, so, but yeah.
Well, it's not about what they cost. It's about the room they take up on the shelf if they're crappy.
That's fair too. That is fair.
Now, here's a cookbook that everyone else is going to be excited about except for me, but I'm going to bring it up anyway. It comes out February 28th. It's Macaron Heaven. And I'm not saying macaroon because a macaroon is the coconut version and it's spelled differently. This is the French macaron. Yeah. The macaron cookies. And I have known people that like to make them, but I don't personally like the texture that's kind of crunchy on the outside and chewy on the inside. It kind of makes me squicky. Like, ugh. Really? But they're so pretty to look at.
Oh, man. Yeah, they are beautiful. And that's like the one thing I can eat because they usually use almond flour.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's really cool. And you can do a whole bunch of stuff with macaron. I can't say it. I'm not French. I'm sorry.
I know. We're not trying to be. We can just say macaron.
No, it's a colorful cover too on that cookbook.
Yes, and we are still continuing here through our February lists of cookbooks that we want you to know about because they're coming out. We're going to hold off. We're going to talk about March every week in the next few podcasts because there's so many interesting cookbooks coming out in March. I'm going to quickly run through my list of interesting things that I saw recently. Pimp Your Noodles came out back in September. By Sarah Cook, but it's now going to be available on Kindle finally. And I don't understand the publishing industry why you don't. I guess you don't put it out on Kindle for a couple months so that people are forced to buy the more expensive hardcover version. But in this case, the hardcover is $12.99 and the Kindle $6.99. It's by Sarah Cook, and it's just 80 kick-ass recipes for a delicious dinner. It just makes me laugh. I wanted to bring it up.
No, that's awesome.
You are the one that alerted me to Ice Cream Social, Fabulous Frosty, and Fun Treats.
Oh, yes. I love ice cream. So this one, I believe, comes out after Valentine's Day or maybe not. It does come out this month in February, but they've got a whole bunch of cool little ways of using ice cream. You can clearly make sundaes, ice cream sandwiches, but they kind of do all kinds of stuff with that cookbook. And it's really bright and fun. I can imagine hanging out with my niece in the summertime doing fun like ice cream cooking projects. So hopefully that this year
it's one of those cute little like $11 smaller than normal cookbooks that would be great to just give to like a preteen. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
Maybe not to boys because the cover is so pink. I mean,
it's very pink.
I'd use it with a boy, but they'd probably be like, "Don't give me this." Oh, you're the one that wrote about Afternoon Tea at Home by Will Torrent.
Yes, that's a really great cookbook too because it's kind of a whole experience about tea parties, or it doesn't necessarily. Tea parties sounds a little niche. It is like hosting tea parties, but just like little events. You can have tiny little sandwiches with tiny scones, and just like little finger foods. And it's kind of a whole immersive experience cookbook, not just recipes. They have pairings, and I believe they even have tea pairings and stuff in there if you want to go that far. But it's a cute cookbook.
That's another category where I think the world has enough afternoon tea books, and I'm like, ugh. But then I see the cover, and it's so beautiful. I'm like, well, pretty awesome. Maybe we do need another one.
I know. Hey, there's all kinds of ways to make sandwiches and scones, I think. I don't know. I love scones.
The next book I wanted to mention quickly, I'm not sure how to pronounce the title because it's a play on her name. It's Lior Rouche, Baking from My Tel Aviv Kitchen by Lior Masiach. So just because it's Tel Aviv does not mean it's a Jewish cookbook, but it is definitely, Mediterranean, Middle Eastern style recipes. I'm excited to check it out. Unfortunately, right now it's in pre-order for $49.95. I'm not paying that much for any cookbook. I'm sorry. So I would wait until the price drops, or I buy it from, or get it from the library. But I wanted to mention it in case anyone is intrigued by Tel Aviv kitchen cooking.
I am.
I wanted to mention that Preserving the Italian Way is coming out on Kindle. Right now, there's some kind of error on Amazon because the paperback is showing as $210. No.
Oh,
and the
my.
Kindle version is showing as $20. I'm like, no, I don't pay $20 for a Kindle book either. But if you are really desperate to learn how to preserve the Italian way, I'm just going to mention it now. Katie, I keep hearing people mention Under the Olive Tree, Memories and Flavors of Puglia. Is that how you say it? It looks like Puglia, but I'm pretty sure it's not called. Is it Puglia? Anyway, this Italian region, Southern region, and it's by Anna Maggio, who was born in the Puglia. I should have looked this up before doing this podcast. That's fine. Everyone's just raving about this cookbook, and they do not have a look inside the book preview on Amazon, so don't know what to tell you. But everyone's excited about it, and it comes out February 8th, which is just a few days from today.
I have so what they've done for that cookbook, at least from what I've seen, is that they have actual illustrations. They're really cute illustrations of the food itself, for like, the local herbs and tomatoes or whatever that they use. But that cookbook is really interesting because it is a bit like home. She takes all of these recipes from locals. It's very down to earth and more wholesome than kind of mainstream Italian cooking. So I like those kinds of things. I think a lot of people are getting into that too.
Well, we have more time to cook, frankly.
Yeah, we do. Definitely.
I was just chatting with my boyfriend at breakfast, and I'm like, neither one of us is used to cooking this much, and we're not complaining, but normally on Monday nights we would go to this Mexican place called Pecado Bueno. It's now closed, and we would play games with our friends, and then Tuesday night I would go to the iPic movie theater and have dinner there, and he would join me maybe half the time and then do his own thing. And then Wednesdays he would go to his guys' night out, and I would stay home with leftovers happily. And then Thursday I would probably go out with girls. Friday was date night. Saturday we'd meet friends, and then Sunday we just eat leftovers. And I'm like, wait, that's a lot of meals out, and we're not losing any weight from not going to restaurants. So what's wrong?
No, I've noticed that too. Actually, for us, we cook a lot of meals now at home, especially with the vegan thing. It's really hard to find. I guess it's good that I've done this experience, because now I understand how hard it is to find food that, if you have any dietary restrictions, like I already am gluten-free, but doing vegan and gluten-free and going out to eat, that's just a nightmare. So yes. I have a lot of empathy now for that. So I totally get it.
So if we have any readers out there that are trying to avoid eggs, and that might not just be vegans, it could be people with allergies, there's a book coming out on February 9 with a gorgeous cover with a pink background and a cake on a white pedestal, and there's strawberries on top, but it's gorgeous. It's called The Simply Eggless Cookbook, The Ultimate Guide for Mastering Egg-Free Cakes, Cupcakes, Cookies, Brownies, and More by Oriana Romero. It just looks gorgeous.
That would be an interesting read.
And I have two more quick mentions on my list. The first is the 5-minute, 5-ingredient lunchbox, happy, healthy, and speedy meals to make in minutes. And I don't think it's for cooking for kids that go to school, because kids aren't really going to school right now, mostly, but it's actually for adults. And they have vegetarian, vegan, gluten-free, and dairy-free advice inside, and how to make bulk lunches for your week ahead, and how you might overhaul last night's leftovers into a great midday meal. That's brilliant. It is by Alexander Hart, comes out February 9, the 5-minute, 5-ingredient lunchbox. And the last thing I want to mention is going to make Katie scream with excitement. Japanese soups.
Yum!
66 nourishing broth stews and hot pots, coming out in hardcover on February 9 by Keiko Iwasaki. I am excited about this because I love Japanese soups, although I'm going to mention I've never made my own miso soup. I'm confused. Like, why would I when I could just buy miso soup from the store? Anyway, But I'm scared to go to Japanese restaurants and eat their soup because it probably has the fish broth. So now I can learn to make my own and stop being so lazy.
Oh, yeah, I didn't think about that. I want to expand my soup knowledge because I honestly have only had like 3 kinds of Japanese soups. So it'd be nice to like get more, and stews too. I don't think I've ever had a Japanese stew. That sounds so
What did you eat when you were in Japan?
I mean, we ate a lot of curry and ramen, which is soup, but you know, that's it. Ramen. Anyway, yeah, sushi, like, yeah, and all kinds of stuff.
So I'm looking through the Amazon preview pictures, and there's peanut miso soup with pork and vegetables. And I tried to enunciate that word peanut. There is a barley soup with sweet potato, which sounds good. Like I would eat it. I don't think I ever would have thought to make it. There's a pork belly soup with vegetables, a chicken soup on rice, shrimp wonton soup, noodle soup with squid and broccoli, lemon chicken soup. That sounds good. Miso tomato stew with chicken. And Japanese bouillabaisse. Wow. And the last one that they show me a preview of is beef and watercress soup with sesame. So that is Japanese Soups by Keiko Iwasaki, coming out in February 9.
Yum.
So Katie, tell our listeners the plan for our March podcasts, and then I'll finish up talking about our free online cooking clubs and cooking classes we're doing in February and March.
Yeah. So March, we have, like we've said before, a lot of cookbooks coming out, and I'm sure there will be more that just pop up out of nowhere. So every week we're probably going to go through each week in March. So next week we will be going through the first week of March so that everybody can be kind of ahead of time. We can pre-order these books, and you know, there's a lot of really just amazing books coming out. So I'm really looking forward to that. So that's basically kind of what we're going to be doing, is breaking it down week by week for March. And at this rate, it might even go into April and May because there's so many books coming out.
And we've only been doing this cookbook blogging for a year, but Katie came on board in September, October. So we don't really know what to expect in this kind of publishing schedule. Wow.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, and it'll be interesting to see how the next years repeat. Like if there's a theme we can see, like, you know, I thought baking books would be done by now, but you know, but nope, we're still ready to go.
And remember that all of these publishers are publishing cookbooks because we buy them.
Yeah.
So if we just get them from the library and use bookstores, you know, that helps our budgets, but it doesn't help the publishers realize we need to make more. So I'm going to do my part and try to make some room on the bookshelf and some room in the budget and get some more awesome ones.
I know, me too. Definitely.
So I wanted to mention and invite you, if you haven't joined yet, if this is at all of interest, we're doing 3 online classes / book clubs that are free. We do them on Facebook in private groups. In February, we're doing Betty Crocker 101, and it's a really fun class. You know, you can do as little or as much homework as you want or not, and we're sharing old vintage recipes from our mom's cookbooks or old vintage ads showing the cake mixes, etc. We're watching old Betty Crocker commercials from the 1940s that are quite interesting. And that is February 2021. If you're interested in joining us, you can find the link on our cookbookdivas.com website. There's a little pull down window that says online classes, and you'll pull down February 2021 Betty Crocker 101. The next thing that we're doing is the Little House on the Prairie Cooking Club, which is February and March 2021. We're working our way through the Little House Cookbook by Barbara M. Walker, and we're uploading pictures of our cornbread and our maple syrup sugar snow, and this lady just uploaded a picture of her butter mold, and she made her own butter and molded it into this beautiful mold, and we're talking about Little House on the Prairie a lot. If that's your kind of jam, you can find info on our cozy private Facebook group over at our website. And in March, we're looking forward to a free online class about Julia Child called Julia Child 101. We'll be reading her book, My Life in France. We'll be watching some of her old cooking shows that we can find on YouTube. And it's all fun and free. And just like the other 2 classes, you can find info on our website at cookbookdivas.com. Meanwhile, you can find our cookbook look-throughs on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and sometimes on Pinterest. we like to do little cookbook flip throughs really quickly on Instagram, where you can see a cookbook reel of us just flipping through a cookbook so you can see some of the colorful pictures and decide if it's something you want to check out from the library or buy. Any final comments, Katie?
No, I think we're good. February was pretty short, and I'm looking forward to all these March cookbooks, and I'm looking forward to these classes to fill our time for February for sure. Those sound really exciting.
It's winter and it's raining and I'm not leaving my house.
It's an excuse to read.
All right, thanks, and see you next week, everybody.